Hi Anne, it's Becca. Thanks so much for your video and for those details of your autopsy report. Um, I especially appreciate hearing them, um, knowing that that's a part of your journey that has been challenging and frustrating for you. Um, I'm really sorry that it's been like that for you, but I think that your story is going to resonate with a lot of other lost moms who have unfortunately also been given inaccurate information, even moms who did try to get autopsy reports and then are being told by doctors, oh, you have a normal sized baby, so this placenta must not be yours, or the small placenta isn't the cause of demise for your baby. Because I'm hearing a lot of that from other lost moms, and it's, as we both know, simply not the case. That you can absolutely have a large baby like you did and a small placenta. And the small placenta is ultimately the cause of death. And I think that's the purpose of this, is we need to get that information out there. I love hearing you talking about meeting other lost moms and how you kind of don't have small talk and you right away have this instant kinship. And I think that is something really unique to sisters in loss, and something that not very many other people share in their lifetime. I mean, it's a club that, of course, I wish you and I weren't in, but if we're going to be in it, I'm glad that we're in it together and that we've met each other and that we can travel this road together and create legacy for our Elijahs through this and through our journeys. I really do love meeting other moms. I find it interesting, even moms who didn't have a stillborn, but who maybe lost a child later or earlier. It's just this instant connection, this feeling like, yes, you've been in this valley and you are carrying this incredible life with you that not very many mothers thankfully experience, but those who do, I think we have a very unique connection that's special. It's interesting that you mentioned low amniotic fluid, because I didn't know that was a thing before I gave birth, before I delivered Elijah. And I remember thinking, my water never broke. Like, there was no water. And I didn't know that was a thing for stillbirths, but it very much is. It's definitely something that happens, especially when your baby has died. Like for me, it was a couple days before I delivered. So it was more time for, like you said, the kidneys aren't functioning anymore. So the body's not having to keep producing more. And also, from what the research I've done, your body and baby's body both absorb some of that amniotic fluid as well. So that's also a common thing that I think other stillbirth moms might not realize. But yeah, it's not necessarily the reason the baby died, but it is something that is connected to stillbirth. It's interesting that you said you wanted to know how much less than the 10th percentile the placenta was. And my thought is, does it matter? Is the less than the 10th percentile the cutoff for, like, if it's less than the 10th percentile, you have fetal demise? Or is there a magic number where it's like, this is not okay? Or is less than the 10th, do they say less than the 10th percentile because that means it's really small and cause of death? Or like for you, they said it was less than the first percentile. So that's even more small, obviously. But what's the percentile where it's like, okay, no, like, it's not okay? Is less than 10th percentile acceptable? Like, at what point is it considered danger zone? And like less than 10th percentile seems small to me. Like that to me, when I read less than 10th percentile, I already was like, oh, that's small. My question wasn't, well, how much less? Because I just thought less than 10th percentile was small. So it's interesting that your right away thought was how much less. And then reading the placental insufficiency part on your autopsy and the intrauterine growth restriction. So like I was saying earlier, how most people who have a small placenta, they would expect to also have a small baby. So that's a correlation that they see. And then you see a small baby, and then that tells the doctors, okay, we need to measure placenta now. But for those of us who didn't have the small baby, we didn't have that indication. They didn't know to measure the placenta. And so that's kind of the purpose of this, is like, let's push to get placentas measured, right? I hated hearing the part of your story where it just felt like you were treated unfairly, like your concerns weren't something that at your autopsy review that they were saying, oh, it's not your fault, and that's not even what you were thinking. You weren't thinking it was your fault. You were thinking it's my placenta's fault and I want more information, and people weren't giving you the information that you needed and you should have had. And good for you for advocating for yourself. And hopefully this can just be a reminder to other families out there that you need to sometimes advocate for yourself, and that unfortunately you're not always given the answers that are out there. You need to dig, and some people need answers. That's okay too. But if you feel like you do, then I think it's important to push and to look further and do research. And I think it's really awesome that you came across Dr. Kilmen's Kilmen it's research. KLIMEN, it's KLIMEN's research, right? I need to listen to that podcast for sure, because I'm excited to hear what he had to say, and I think we should definitely link it. So hopefully I can find the link and we can put it up and other people can listen to it as well as myself. You also met him, which is so cool. I think, yeah, how amazing. Like that you got to meet him multiple times for, like you said, hours. Like that's amazing. I would love to hear more about what he said, and what were your impressions of him and his work. And I want to take his research to the placenta clinic, and I have spoken to a researcher, and she said she's away right now, so she's going to get back to me when she gets back to set up an appointment to go. But I would love to just really feel like I've got all the information I need so that I'm totally prepared. So maybe you can help prepare me, and in doing so, prepare other people who might want to bring this information to their doctors or to their placenta research clinics. Where do we go? What links should we be looking up? Why is his research valid and important? Interesting questions. You also talked about triggers and working through triggers and things that have been hard along the grief journey. For me, it's just been a very conscious choice of like, if it's hard, I want to do it because I don't want it to be hard anymore. I didn't want anything to have power over me. I wanted to be as much in control of this situation that I know I have very little control over. This was something that I felt like was a conscious choice that I could make, and I could decide to tackle these things. So I just kind of tackled them as I came across them. Some things I was just like, nope, I'm not going there. Today's not a good day or whatever. The first year after losing my Elijah, I took one day off a week for an entire year. Like in addition to my weekend. Wednesdays, I took off. So Wednesdays were my grief day, where I would do self-care, tackle triggers, see my therapist, go visit my little Alina niece and get some baby love. And that was my opportunity to just like, that was my one day that I was just like, I'm focusing on me and my needs and tackling these hard things. And it was nice to have that one day. I would kind of save up all my sad or mad or whatever it was for that one day. I knew, okay, I would compartmentalize it, that like on Wednesday, I can tackle this. And that's really how I went about it. And the revisiting that area of the city where the cab went was really just me driving and realizing I'm avoiding that place because it was a trigger. And I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to avoid anymore. I don't like that this has power over me. So I just did it. I just went and I just made that drive and I cried. And then I did it again and again and again, and I don't cry anymore. I still feel that a little bit of anxiety, and I still recognize the sacredness of that space because of what that area, the memory that it holds for me. And I don't want to discount that because that is powerful, but it's not more powerful than me and my ability to choose how I'm going to feel when I'm there. And I'm kind of taking back that experience and those intimate moments that I shared around Elijah. The very few memories that I have of just his physical existence, and that's one of them. So it's sacred space, even though it's not necessarily a positive memory, and it still, like I said, gives me anxiety, but I don't avoid that space anymore. I know that I can handle going there, and I think I've had that experience with a lot of things. Another thing that I chose to do, I told you that my partner and I, Steve, stayed at a hotel the night before going into labor and the night after Elijah was born also, just because we had a birth tub in my living room and didn't want to go home and face all those things. So we stayed at a hotel, and I decided for Elijah's first birthday last July, I would rent that same room at the hotel again and bring my sisters-in-laws and bring Elijah's box with all his things in it and watch a slideshow of all the pictures and the videos, and I would reclaim the space because I knew that in my mind that hotel room was an icky, sad place. And I said, nope, I'm going to reclaim it, and that's going to be another place where I can connect with Elijah. And I did, and it was a beautiful celebration, and we drank champagne. I had a bottle of champagne that a dear friend and my employer had bought for me actually before, like when I was pregnant with Elijah. She had bought it for me to drink on the day of his birth. Of course, I wasn't feeling like drinking champagne on that day, so I saved it for his first birthday, and I popped it at the hotel room, and me and my sisters-in-laws and my real sister and my best friend, we drank it and cheers to Elijah in that room where I began to have labor pains. And that was so cool. And I'm always finding I'm pleasantly surprised at how okay I am with those things. Like I anticipate them being a lot harder. And then I'm just met with this grace that I wouldn't experience had I avoided those places. So I'm grateful that I just tackle those things and end up being okay through them. So it's a pleasant surprise, and I think that the more you just do the things that are hard, the stronger you'll feel, and the more you'll realize that it's not so hard. You just kind of had to do it. There was no like feeling like I'm ready. Sometimes it was just, nope, I'm done feeling this way. So I'm just going to go there. And it's okay to avoid it too. It's, you know, everyone has their own journey, and that has been mine. Another unique part of my journey is that after I had Elijah, my milk came in. Right away, my midwife said she was helping me to find ways to dry up my milk. But it just didn't feel right to me. I just said, this is my like last physical connection to being Elijah's mom. And I had a breast pump, which was one of the first things that I had gotten when I was pregnant with Elijah and preparing for his delivery. So I decided to strap it on and I started to pump. And I didn't know why, but it just felt right and triggering at the same time. Just one of those other bittersweet things that I just said I need to do. And I told my midwife maybe we could find a baby I could give my milk to. And sure enough, she did. She found a baby who was 6 weeks old, who had just been adopted by a local family who was hoping to feed the baby breast milk. And I had a lot of it. So I started pumping every 3 hours and kept doing so for about 8 months. Tapered off towards the end, but that little baby, I call her Elijah's milk sister, she lived exclusively on Elijah's milk for 8 months. And that was an incredibly beautiful, challenging part of my journey too, that I'm so grateful for, even though there was a lot of times when I was like, why am I doing this? This is so hard and so depressing and so sad, and I just want to be feeding my baby right now. But seeing her grow and visiting her and holding her and just seeing what a beautiful little girl she's grown into, just like, it just feels like another piece of Elijah's legacy, and I'm so proud of that. And I wouldn't do it any other way. I think it was a really good choice for me. And in fact, her mom had this made, which is a milk bead. So this is Elijah's milk that she had made into a pendant, which I wear around my neck all the time, as well as with this one, which was my push present to myself that I had bought actually before Elijah was born too. And I told my partner, don't worry, Elijah bought it for me. And then as soon as I went into labor, I texted my friend and said, I need you to go to my jewelry box and get me my push present. And I wore this when I delivered Elijah. So I always have that around my neck, and I think it's really special. I've gone off track and I'm at 18 minutes, so I'm probably just gonna cut this short as well. It's hard to keep it short. I have so many. I wanted to talk about your rock pile thing. I love that. I love that parallel you're drawing. Instead of calling not all things are triggering, some things are just things you need to tackle and move into your different rock pile. Showing up at places for the first time. I wish I could come with you to see that supervising OB, because I know that's going to be hard for you. But I'll be thinking of you, and no rush. Do it when the time is right. And who knows, maybe she'll come across our videos and say, I need to reach out to Anne. Who knows? YouTube is a very big place. Yeah, taking pictures. I loved hearing about Leah and Joseph's story. And Timothy being away at camp. I think there is no easy, right? Like, we just are doing, all of us, what works for us, and there's no really easy path. I'm currently doing my stillbirth day training for doula work, which is especially the bereavement doula piece, so you can look that up. It's kind of all-encompassing, but my goal is to be on call, kind of similar to the Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep photographers who get called at the last minute when there's a stillbirth happening. My goal is to have something like that, where if a mother who's experienced a stillbirth goes into labor, the network will get me to them somehow if they need me. There are other bereavement doulas in my city who do that, so just hoping to be a part of that and just supporting mothers, and then also with their pregnancy after loss as well, and supporting them. I like the idea of framing the placenta. You said you wish you had a picture of your placenta, and I think I'm gonna do that. I might do one where I burn, like sacrificially or something, just, you know, because it would feel really good. And then maybe one I will frame, or maybe I'll just burn the edges, or maybe I'll frame the ashes of the burned placenta picture. I don't know. Interesting ideas. Anyways, this has been, again, another long video. It's hard to keep it short. Amazing to hear from you again, and look forward to hearing more, especially about the placenta research, and just your, you know, enlighten me in all you know, and the world and all that they can know about this measuring placenta volume prenatally, and what that means in the big picture of prenatal care. Yeah, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.